It's the greatest podcast in the history of the world.
It goes high up and under the full foot. Becky's taken a ripper!
He has a bounce, he crosses 50, he pins the ears back, and he drills the goal!
All the latest news and views from around the VAFA.
Here's the big man!
Big on.
He's done it again! This bloke extracts some of the finest from outside the arc. It's a long bomb from outside the arc!
This is for the love of the game.
You can tweet that and hashtag it bloody good.
Welcome to For the Love of the Game. Big V Saturday is run and won. And what a day of Big V footy it was at Revo Park here at Elstonwick Park on Saturday. The big VAFA ref teams going 2 from 2 in fine style against the Goulburn Valley League. Matty Donald Brayden May were here calling the action for VAFA Media. A very memorable day.
Yes, hello to you, Jace, Brayden, and to everybody tuning in. A terrific occasion, representative football. It's always one of the highlights on the VAFA calendar, and it was great to see the Big V go 2 for 2.
No, it was a fantastic day, and Matty, fantastic in the call across both games. It was a brilliant display of football in trying conditions as well, which is the big thing I took away from it, Jace.
Joining us to talk a little bit more about it, he's been a hot topic on the pod all season long. Is he the recruit of the year? Is he in the top 2? Is he on the podium? While joining us, he was outstanding on the weekend for the Big V Premier B to D3 team. From Old Geelong, Tom Gorell. Tom, thanks for your time.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Mate, what did you make of the experience, your Big V experience?
Oh, I had lots of fun. It's really, I really enjoyed making all the mates that we did. You think you're rivals with some of the boys, and then you realise their clubs, they're really good people, and really enjoy playing with them.
Well, gentlemen, let's go through the game in a little bit more detail with Tom. The opening term, Goulburn Valley had the wind. They were plus 27 disposals via uncontested marks. They controlled the footy pretty well. Had the inside game, but just couldn't control possession. And despite all of that, the Big V ended up with more inside 50s.
Yeah, they did. And it took a while for things to sort of really get going in terms of them hitting the scoreboard. It took until 5 minutes for the opening goal, the match to be kicked. But in the second part of the opening term, the Big V really started to open the floodgates. And I think there was a chain where they managed 3 goals from 9 possessions at one point in that opening term. It really broke the game open from there.
Tommy, what did you make of the opening term? In the end, at quarter time, it was 2 goals to 1. It was low scoring. What did you guys think about, and what was the message from Geesh at quarter time?
From Geesh, it was just pressure on the ball for us. Without the wind, we had to get up a bit higher, get the ball and keep it in, not allow them to get to the territory and put it in their forward line.
So it was a pretty good defensive performance, Brayden, really, when you think about that wind was blowing a gale, wasn't it? Was it probably a 5 or 6 goal wind?
Yeah, if not more, if you took your chances. And they did a fantastic job. And from memory, the opening half of the second quarter as well was a bit of a tight tussle. The balls was contest after contest, ball up after ball up. But then the VAFA boys just got going, and it was electric to watch, and they just hit the scoreboard very quickly.
Yeah, Tommy, you won territory in that second term with the Breeze, as you'd expect, 16-8 on the inside 50s, but it was your ability to punish turnovers. You kicked 6 goals, 3 for the quarter, and 4 of those goals came from turnovers. The pressure up the field was obviously excellent.
Oh, yeah. Our half-forwards and midfielders did very well. And then even in the back line, some of the boys, Cal and Was, people like that, they just didn't let anything go through them. And then spoil, and we were at the feed, and we just got it in quickly with the territory, with the wind. It was really good.
What did you make of that second term, Matty?
Oh, blistering. As Brayden was sort of saying, it came off the back of a really sort of dour period of play. I think there were 25 scoreless minutes either side of quarter time. So defences were on top, and conditions made it a little bit difficult. But then they just flicked the switch. The Big V. They were absolutely outstanding in the latter part of that second term. Ben Van Twest, Matt Fewings, Tommy Ferguson, all getting goals, and yourself as well, Tom. You managed to get one in that rush in the second quarter as well. What did you make of the conditions out there? Because they were pretty tricky throughout the course of the afternoon.
Yeah, I managed to get one in the second. It was the conditions were pretty tough. It took a while to get the read on it. The ball was probably floating 10 meters further than what you'd expect, and then goal kicking. Obviously, I had struggles in the first bit, but then kind of with the wind, it's a bit easier.
So 43 points up at half time. When you headed into the rooms, what was the mood like, and what was Geesh's message?
Oh, everyone was pretty happy, up and about. But the message was just to keep going. We knew they were going to hit us pretty strong in the third quarter with the wind. We just had to manage the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then if we managed that, then we'd think they'd drop their heads, and we'd get on top of it in the last half and the last quarter.
Brayden, the inside game, Goulburn Valley, were extremely competitive on the inside. It was once the ball got to the outside that the big V across the course of the day sort of dominated. Tricky conditions again in the third quarter. Kicking efficiency for both teams was very low. It was in the 50s, sort of 1 in 2 kicks were hitting their target. So it was only 2 goals apiece. Again, GVL, though, had the territory battle 15-10 with the wind, but the Vic's able to hold them to 2 goals apiece. I mean, defensively, that is so often the case. It's not the goals you kick with the wind sometimes. It's what you can hold the other team from doing when you're going against the wind. If you can find a couple yourself, that can be the deciding factor.
And it just opened the floodgates eventually, as we touched on. But what I loved, you touched on the clearance game of the GV. It was really good. But you touched on guys like Matt Harvey, Max Pinchbeck. They set up that second and third possession out of stoppage and really just opened it up. Tommy, you probably know a bit more about Matt Harvey yourself, having played alongside him at club level. What is it that makes him such a terrific footballer?
Oh, his work rate is, I've never seen it before. He's just always there. And he uses the ball really well. Like, there's nothing better than you looking up and you're seeing halves come out of the middle and start hitting you. He doesn't miss, and he knows what he's doing. His footy smarts is second to none.
We've been arguing about this in recent weeks. Who's the recruit of the year, Tom Gorell or Matt Harvey?
Nah, halves. You saw his performance on the weekend, 44. I don't think he might have had one game below 40 this year, I reckon. He's up there. He's definitely up there.
We'll agree to disagree, Tom. I'm in your corner on that front. From your own personal standpoint, what does it mean to be able to pull on the big V now that you've we've gone through the whole build-up, the selection, you've played well, you've got to win. Reflecting on it all, what does it mean to be able to represent the big V?
Oh, it means like a lot. Like I said before, it's so good to play with people that you play against. Like, you realise how good they are. Like, even some of the leadership, like, you just make friends pretty quickly. Like, Hugh Johnson is just a great player. We played him the week before, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to play with him. He just gets it out, and his ball use is, like, for a ruckman, it's one of the best things I've seen. But yeah, just to pull it on, even just friends like Geish and stuff, very good coach. You see it from a different perspective, and it's good to play at that standard where everyone's a good player. Like, some of the ball use, like, even at training, we had some pretty good conditions at training. There was no kicks missed. It was really good.
So that last quarter must have been fun. You guys put the foot down in a big way. GVL again still won the clearances, got the inside, but then you guys controlled the air. I think you took 7 contested marks to 1 for the quarter, completely dominated territory 16-8, but it was the conversion. You kicked 10 goals 3 from 16 entries. Every time it went in, it seemed to go through.
Yeah, no, it was pretty nice. It just kept coming in. I reckon there was I don't know what the stats were, but I reckon a lot came off turnovers. So you had a lot of space in there, and if you got to the right spot, it went over, and we got a few close to goal, which was nice. Easy conversions.
That last quarter, when you said the floodgates, Matty, that really did open up.
Oh yeah, they were just kicking goals at will.
And it was 6 goals from turnover in the last quarter, actually, Tommy.
Yeah, and Tom, you managed to sort of cash in and kick 4 as well. So that must have been, given that you sort of said you missed a few earlier on, it must have been nice to get on the end of some good play and be able to put a few through the big sticks and really fatten the stats at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, it was. It was nice to get it going a little bit. It was, I don't know, the conversion was nice. It's nice to get a few on the board always. It makes you feel a bit more comfortable. It makes you not really think about what you're doing or where you're going. And then for people like Luca Delaro to get on the board as well, it's always good fun when all your mates just keep getting them. So
47 goals for you for the year. Let's talk Old Geelong now. What have you made of your first season in the VAFA? How are you enjoying it?
Loving it. Love Old Geelong. It's a great club, but I got over there because a lot of mates are over there, and they said it was good, and it's even better than that. Loving it. Love Dicko's a great coach, and so like all the boys are just good. There's no one that you don't like. Like the chemistry and conversion that we're getting is really good. Loving it.
Tell us a little bit about your footy journey. How did you end up at Old Geelong in the first place? Where'd you play your junior footy, and how have you ended up here now?
So I was at Geelong Amos for all my junior career, and then went over, played APS school footy for Geelong College, and then played 2 senior years at Geelong Amos, and then I'm moving up in Melbourne, so I was commuting down, and then kind of got sick of the commute, and I had Jimmy Adams and Will Eggins, who are over there, a couple of my good mates. They were in my ear the whole time about getting to Old Geelong, and I had Dicko on my ear, so then I eventually, when I didn't want to commute anymore, went straight to Old Geelong and haven't looked back now.
It's working out great. Hey, what have you made of Premier B? We rave about it every week. It's arguably the most competitive section in all of Melbourne suburban footy. The week to week, it's just phenomenal. There are no easy games.
Oh no, yeah, I love it. Like you go into every game and you think we can win this. Like even last week we're playing Wesley and we're on a pretty good streak and we were confident. But yeah, there's nothing better than going into every game going, this is going to be a close one, or this like you're in for a good game. There's no we're going to have an easy win here or we're going to get smashed. Like it's a great comp. It's a great comp to be in.
We're always interested in comparing competition. So compared to Geelong Ammos down there in the down in the Geelong League, what are the differences? Like how does it stack up, and where is it different? The style of footy and the quality of footy to down Geelong way.
I'd say it's very similar. Like some grounds, I think I compare them, but I think like the Ballerine League has a lot of bigger older bodies. I'd say compared to the BFL, who's a bit younger, a bit quicker. But overall, like the standard-wise, I'd say like I was thinking about if we had a pracking match, Old Geelong versus Geelong Ammos, I think it'd be pretty close.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead this week, we talk about coming up against Big V teammates who are now opponents. Cal Linehan, your captain, and Bo Morris this week. What are you expecting? You host them at Como Park in a massive game for both these teams. This ladder is so congested.
Yeah, it is a big game. I was speaking to Cal about it after the game. We went to Ulsterwick pub and had a few beers, and we were having a good chat over it, which was quite funny. Yeah, it's going to be. He's a great player. He's our captain for a reason. Some of the marks he took on the weekend were just so good to watch from the forward line. But being on the opposing team too, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. Try and get a few tips out of him.
So Old Geelong at the moment sitting on 18 points. Bo Morris are on 20, Matty. So Geelong win this, they could jump right up to the edge of the 4 and leapfrog Bo Morris.
And not only that, Jay, so in a few weeks ago, Geelong were last on the ladder. If they managed to get a win, suddenly the top 4 is not out of the equation. They could strike within half a game of the top 4 all of a sudden, which has been a remarkable turnaround. Tom, you've sort of touched on how the fact that most games you've gone into and you've felt like you've been able to win, or you've given yourself feel like you've given yourself a reasonable chance. What do you think has changed in particular in the last month, where you've been able to pick up a couple more wins and climb up the ladder once again?
I think just the overall chemistry. I think we had 10 or 11 debutants in round 1. So we kind of I think we've just figured out each other, the way we play, like who we want the ball in the hands of. I think it's just the overall chemistry that we have. I think our game plan is just keeping on like adapting, and we're just getting better and better. I think I'm very confident about the rest of the year. We've got a lot of momentum heading in.
What's the competitive advantages of the team, Tommy? Where can you beat teams? What are you guys particularly good at?
I think when you have Matt Harvey coming in the middle, and like even Lockie Denali, he's a very good ruckman. I think.
Is that the muscle truck?
Pretty quick.
Big sexy.
Yeah, the muscle truck, big sexy. He's very good out of the middle. I think overall it's just I think we can really get teams on turnover, and even just from our half back line, where if we get it in quick, we go very well.
Well, Tommy, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on your performance for the Big V. Congratulations on your performance all season long. We're delighted to hear that you're loving your time at Old Geelong, and best of luck for the road ahead.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, Jess.
Tom Gorell joining us on For the Love of the Game. So, gentlemen, time for the easy part of the show. Prem B tips, your specialty.
Oh, yes. No, I love this part of the week. It's my favourite part.
And round 12, it could be the hardest of... I mean, we say this every week, but it might just be the hardest. So at the moment, you're on 25 for the year. Brayden's on 34. So really, like, of his 13, 9 of them have come in your specialty section.
Yes. Well, it's only one a week.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Exactly.
By on average.
Exactly. And as we keep saying, the more you know, the less you know when it comes to Premier B. So let's go through them game by game. There are some absolute rippers this week. And we're going to start with... third versus fourth. It's De La Salle and Old Camberwell at Old Camberwell. Both these teams locked together on 24 points, so the winner will jump a game clear of the other. And the other thing about that is Bo Morris and Old Melburnians are only a game out, so the loser could find themselves out of the top 4. What are you thinking about this one? Not in terms of tips, just in terms of how you feel it might pan out. What are the keys to this game?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I think all of these games are actually going to be really difficult to pick this weekend. Because I know we sort of say that generally, but I think of all the rounds with Prem B, this one may well be the toughest so far of the year as we commence the run home. Going to be a really fascinating game. It's hard to hard to know which way to go with this one because both of these teams have been in pretty good form. I'd probably say D-Lar have been more consistent over the course of the entire campaign. But Old Campbell, just in the last couple of weeks sort of heading into the bye, have just managed to pick things up a bit.
They've won 5 of their last 6.
Yeah.
It's pretty sneaky. They've won their last 3. So, yeah, they have been, they lost 4 of their first 5 at the start of the year, and then they've managed to flip the script, and since then they've won 5 of their last 6.
And, a few teams have done that. They've just quietly crept up the ladder. They've done it. Old Melburnians have done it as well at times this year. Bo Morris have now done it. Old Geelong in the last few weeks have started climbing up the ladder too. So a few teams at various stages in the season have done this. They've gone on runs, just climbed up the ladder ever so quietly.
So we've given you the case for and against. Brayden, you get to tip first. Old Campbell or D. Larcell?
Oh, it's so hard after seeing Healy and Thomas both out there. They're going to be at either end on the weekend, and they're both awesome footballers. I'm going to go Old Campbell at home.
Old Campbell, stick with the form.
I'm going to go D. Larcell for this one.
D. Larcell for Matty. Old Geelong and Bo Morris. We spoke to Tommy Gorell about how important this game is. Bo Morris sit 5th at the moment on 20 points. Geelong sit half a game behind them in 7th position. The Old Geelong just 1 game above the drop zone. So they're in, both of these teams really are in that sort of twilight zone in the middle of the ladder where their season could go one of 2 ways. And it feels like days like Saturday are going to be a massive part in determining which direction, which fork in the road do they take.
Yeah, you're looking ahead or you're looking over your shoulder. It's one of those classic 8-point games, and we'll have a few of them. Tom Gorell was on earlier. He mentioned Matt Harvey. He mentioned Big Sexy as well as some of the keys. He forgot one other bloke. It's a Starful forward that they've got running around in the lineup at the moment, who seems to start with just 4 goals to his name every week in Gorell, comfortably the league's leading goal scorer. So they've got a number of really good players, Old Geelong, and it does feel like that they're picking up some form. And as we said, they were bottom of the ladder a few weeks ago.
Their last 5 weeks have been okay, haven't they? They beat Old Ivanhoe when both those teams were struggling. Then they lost to Ajax by 2 points in a game they clearly could have won.
Yep.
Beat Old Melburnians by, lost to Carey by 3 goals in a game again they were right in. Beat Old Melburnians by 8 goals and then found a way over Willie. So they've won, 3 of their last 5.
Yeah, and then there's the Sharks who are at the other end who have really, a 5-6 record, but that's not been reflective of the way that they've played. They've had a lot of really close losses, and they managed to get on the right side of a result at the weekend. And they're knocking on the door of the top 4 too. And with the 3rd best percentage in the league, that's going to prove really pivotal for them come the end of the season. So, there's someone that probably should be a bit higher up on the ladder than what their form suggests. So this is, again, another tough one to pick, this one.
Yeah, so Old Geelong coming in off a loss to Collegians. Before that, they beat Willie C. Wise and D-Lar and Bo Morris. Well, we talked about their form line just a moment ago. They've been a bit up and down all over the place and had those tight losses that, could have really changed things. They come in with back-to-back wins over Old Melburnians and Willie CYMS as well. Who do you like, Brayden? Old Geelong or Bowie?
The OG's at home for me.
Well, this could get really ugly because I'm going Bo Morris.
Bo Morris at Como for Matty.
So we've not tipped the same yet.
I have a feeling you might on the next one. Old Ivanhoe versus Collegians. We saw Brayden a glimpse into Collegians' top end talent on the weekend in the Big V. Their Big V reps were outstanding across the board. Johnson, Pinchbeck, Warren, Van Twest all had a huge impact.
My biggest question out of the clash was who wins a bench press competition, Van Twest or Hugh Johnson? Some big chests going around down there.
Who wins their best and fairest too? That's going to be a fair battle.
Well, Mike Pinchbeck has obviously missed some games. Sam Frost has. Hugh Johnson. Ruckman seemed to get votes for just turning up in best and fairest. But yeah, I think Collegians will win this one against Old Ivanhoe pretty comfortably.
Feels like the wheel is turning a little bit for Old Ivanhoe, even if the ladder doesn't suggest it. And they had Rowan McKenzie in the Big V game at the weekend as well, who went under the radar. He kicked 4. He was very good.
Never get spoken about. Yeah.
No, so it just goes to show how dominant they were that you can kick 4 and not really hit the headlines. No, I got to tip Collegians for this one. So we do share one tip in common at least this weekend.
Critical game, this one. Old Carey versus Willie CYMS. Old Carey sit on 16 points in 8th. Willie CYMS sit on the bottom in 12th. I spoke with Contezoglu last week. He turned up to Big V training to see his players receive their jumpers. That speaks volumes of the man. Drove across town to be here to see his kids get their Big V jumpers and be here to support them.
No, and both those guys, Will Bockma found plenty of the footy in the senior game. Mahi Patel, he just had one of those days, right place, right time. Just didn't bounce his way, but you could see why he does have so much talent. But speaking of talent, this Panthers side has too much talent to be down here on this part of the ladder. We spoke about them in pre-season as one of the flag favourites with what they brought in, obviously like Sam Grant and the VFL listing and things like that. But I think now they've had the week off. this is where they've got to put the foot down, and they're going to make a serious charge towards the top 4, and they're going to start by winning this game.
They started the season really well also. I think that first month of the season.
They won 3 of their first 5, and since then they've lost 5 of their last 6.
They were the early challengers to Collegians Throne, but yeah, they've fallen away since. But big opportunity for both of these teams, regardless of sort of how you see their lists. Again, they're both in the relegation scrap at the moment, and it's a big 4 points for both of them.
They haven't been losing by much, Kerry. Their last 3 losses have been 16, 21 and 16 points. So again, a little bit like a couple of the sides, it's just such a tight ladder and such a tight comp. If you just have a 15-minute period in a game, that's enough to cost you victory. So Old Kerry, Willie CYMS in a massive game in the relegation race.
I've got the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Old Kerry too.
And the final game of round 12 is Ajax versus OMs. At the moment, Ajax sits second. They're the best of the rest after Collegians, and OMs have dropped from second to sixth. That wasn't that long ago that they were sitting in second spot themselves, but such is the nature of Premier B. A couple of wins or a couple of losses either way make a difference, and for OMs, it's been 3 losses in a row. They lost to Collegians by 60, Beaumaris by 49, Old Camberwell by 39. So not only the 3 losses concerning, but the margins. In Premier B, they're big margins.
Yeah, they are. And as we sort of say, percentage will almost certainly factor in at some point, whether that's for finals or for relegation or for anything else, that's ultimately what's going to come down to.
So the bye might come at a good time for OMs. Maybe they just needed a bit of a chance to reset and regroup.
I think a lot of sides do, and I think we'll start seeing more players filter back in across all grades at the moment. I know that
we're getting through the back end of Tullamarine flu season.
Yes.
Ajax. The Codrill's kicking in.
Finally.
Ajax have been missing a few. Old Melburnians have been missing a few. Again, this is one we're tipping ahead of time, obviously, as well. So until the selected sides come out. But for me, I think Ajax are just going to keep winning. As Matty's called them, the story of the season. And I'm just enjoying the ride from afar. I'm going back them to get the job done here.
They've won 4 of their last 5, the Jackers.
Yeah, well, they just keep winning. And as long as they keep doing that, they deserve to be favourites in pretty much any game that they go into. So it's hard to look past them at the moment. I'm tipping Ajax as well.
So another massive weekend of Premier B football. It's going to be very exciting and pivotal as well. Both ends of the ladder. Some games that are going to make a huge difference on how everything sits. We'll be back to review that next week. But coming up next on For the Love of the Game, we're going to talk Big V under-19s. The skipper, Harry Dixon's going to join us from Old Scotch. We'll also talk some Premier Men's footy. That's next on For the Love of the Game. Are you thinking about pulling on the boots and having a kick in 2026? If so, we'd love to have you in the VAFA. Australia's largest senior footy competition has teams suited to all ages and experience, from under-19s to seniors. Log on to vafa.com.au, check out our club directory and find a club near you. This is For the Love of the Game. Let's turn our attention now to the Big V under-19 clash against the Goulburn Valley. And again, it was a wonderful performance from the Big V. In the opening term, 11 inside 50s to 2 in favour of the Big V. They kicked 5 goals, 2 from those 11 entries. Their captain that day was Harry Dixon from Old Scotch, and Harry joins us now. Harry, thanks for your time on For the Love of the Game.
Hey, Jace. Thanks for getting me on. Yeah, appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, and congratulations on the performance. I just mentioned 11-2 straight out of the blocks. What was the message from Gilly, firstly, coming into the game, and then what did you make of that opening term when you guys established some pretty clear dominance, led by 20 points at the first change?
I did have that confidence with the boys, and I knew we had a strong midfield, some big bodies in there. So, yeah, we sort of just wanted to get it quick out of the midfield, use our speed, which we probably had on them, and give our forwards a chance, which I think we did with those 11 inside 50s. So, yeah, kicking 5. Pretty good start.
Matty, it was a dazzling start. They just seized control, didn't they? The Big V made a statement early.
Yeah, they smashed the Goulburn Valley out in terms of clearances and dominated with the inside 50. Josh Cole in particular was really influential in the middle in the opening term, but he had plenty of support alongside him. There were just so many good players right across the board. Felt like a real team effort. Is that, Harry, how you saw it? There were even contributions across the board?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, we switched the magnets around, and everyone, I thought, showcased their individual talent, which I thought was really good. But yeah, it wasn't just from the midfield. Our forwards really, silky with it, and gave them good entries, and then our backline held up quite well. Yeah.
GVL had the breeze in the second term, Brayden, so they had 10 inside 50s to 8, but it was the Big V that were controlling the footy much better. You look at the kicking efficiency in the second term, 64% to 38%, and in the GVL kicked 2-5 with a win. Now, if they had a kick straight, they could have potentially been back in the game and even in front at halftime.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think a credit to like Harry and the boys. They seem to make the right decision. They just took that extra second to make the right decision, whether it was by handball, whether it was by foot. And then it helps Harry, no doubt, when you got a bloke like Lockie McGowan at fullback, just running in straight lines, sort of throwback fullback for the older generation. It was awesome to watch. What did you make alongside him?
You know, Gale was great. Yeah, really strong one-on-one player, and we sort of just backed him in. Support him at ground level, but yeah, definitely took some nice clonks. So yeah, very strong that day.
The game seemed to open up a little bit in the third term. It was more free-flowing. I noticed in the stats there was a lot more possessions in that third quarter. GVL took control of the inside. They had 19 clearances to 8, so they were winning the inside ball, but then the Big V controlled the outside, 26 uncontested marks to 10, and great pressure. So 23 intercept possessions as well for the Vics, and that stat had been virtually sort of level in the first half. But in the third term, 17 midfield turnovers for GVL. Harry, you guys got great reward. You kicked 5 goals from those turnovers. The pressure eventually cracked them.
Yeah, no, I knew our sort of speed and our running power would get to them. And we were able to use our skills really efficiently. And our sort of main goal was to go through the corridor. And I think we really perfected that. So yeah, can't complain.
It was only 13 points at halftime, so the game was evenly poised. What did Gilly say to you at the major break?
I think just keep cracking in and like playing a selfless sort of game of football. First gives. And just backing each other in really. And I think we really showed that in the second half.
They ratcheted up the pressure, as I mentioned, that third term and kicked all those goals from turnover. All 5 of their third quarter goals came from turnover, and suddenly the Vics by 41 points at three-quarter time.
Yeah, they really made the most of the breeze in the third term. Harry, one person I want to ask you about who kicked a couple in that third term was Luke Davidson, who stood out for me. I thought he had a really good game. Didn't actually dominate the stat sheet. It was a bit of a low possession, high impact game, but you sort of talked about the big-bodied teammates that you had. He's another one who I thought impressed, not just when he took turns in the ruck, but around the ground. How did you see the way that he was able to play both in the ruck and up forward?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, great presentation for us. As a sort of smaller team, we sort of could sort of rove it off him. And, he sort of gave us that presentation where we sort of lacked in the height. But, it was very, very fundamental in that.
So GVL had the breeze in the last quarter, Brayden, but the Big V took complete control of possession. It was 129 disposals to 58 in the final term. Flipped the inside battle, was winning contested possession, was winning clearances. Then they controlled the footy, 35 uncontested marks to 8. It was very mature, professional football into the breeze to just control possession, control the ball, and in the end it was only 3 goals apiece.
Yeah, I think it was a great advertisement of VAFA footy as well. That ability to punish off turnover, control the game in the back half. But also, one thing I enjoyed was the forward handball game. It's that modern sort of AFL game. But once the Big V boys got going, it was really exciting to watch. They rarely made a mistake. Harry, can you just take us a bit of an insight into like the different sort of profiles you had? Like you've got so many guys in that side that were match winners, but everyone just seemed to play a selfless role, which can be hard sometimes when you come to this level, you want to showcase your skills, but everyone was just so committed to make this a special event.
Definitely. I think at other levels of sort of played out, everyone was sort of there for themselves. But on Saturday, it seemed everyone was just there to get the win. And I think when you actually do play that selfless game of footy, everyone does get the opportunity to show their strengths. And I thought we did that really well and shared it all around.
So in the end, it was a 40-point win. Wonderful performance, 14-14-98 to 8-10-58. What did you make now looking back? You've had a few days to digest it all and process it. Harry, what have you made of your first Big V experience?
No, it was great. Yeah, no, I had so much fun. Connecting with the boys. I think training, you connect with them so much, but I think after you play a game with them, you come so far and you have that sort of rapport and connection with them now. That we'll have, we've built, and it's great to build that connection across the league.
Lockie McGowan ended up winning the medal for best player at fullback, 19 possessions, 7 marks, 8 rebound 50s. Jack Hayter had 40 touches, 15 contested. Keanu Nagy, 35 with 12 contested and a goal. Harry had 21 and 9 contested. Josh Cole, 31. Sam Nicholas also amongst the best players. So it was a really even team performance. So well done to the Big V under-19 men. Let's turn our attention now to Premier Men's. Harry, you've played 11 games, all 11 games in the seniors for Scotch this year, and I think you've polled votes in 8 of them. You're having a fantastic year. How have you found the step up to senior footy?
No, it's been great. I think, I played 2 games last year that really sort of matured me, and it did take me probably a couple of games this year to sort of get back used to it. But no, it's been great. I think I've sort of found the confidence, especially as sort of like a slighter build. I found the confidence to sort of use my speed and how to sort of attack the more contested and sort of bigger bodies. But no, it's been great so far this year.
It's been quite the turnaround for Old Scotch, a little bit like last year. At one point there, I think you won, one of your first 7, and now you've won 3 of the last 4. Where's that turnaround come from?
I think our sort of theme has sort of changed, and I think we've sort of simpled it down a lot. And I think our boys have been able to execute that. And I think just making it simple and backing each other in and being on the same page has sort of made that big difference.
Huge challenge, though, for you, Harry. This week, you've got to head down to Fortress Brighton, a rematch of last year's grand final. It was a really hard-fought game between these two teams earlier on in the season. Where do you reckon the keys are to this game? What are you hoping to try and achieve? Obviously, aside from the 4 points and getting the win, what are you hoping to try and achieve to be able to give you every chance of getting the win against the Tunners this weekend?
Yeah, no, we almost had them last time, but I think just using our sort of ball use and speed from our back line, but also just being able to take the sting out of it, just sort of, taking the control, playing a bit of red ball, and trying to be the driver and and obviously co-drivers of the game, and being proactive and sort of, getting control of the game instead of them sort of, taking it.
So, Mark, Nat, we know the coach likes to break the season down into blocks, and obviously you guys had a little bit of time to rest up and regroup. Old Brighton, St Kevin's Uni Blues the next 3 weeks. So your finals basically start this weekend, Harry. What has been the message from Natty?
I think just continuing on the same message as we have the past 4 weeks. I think if we just keep building on that and, just getting our execution right, and just picking up those little minor errors will make a long way for us, I think, because I think we've showed so much promise, but just haven't been able to do it for the whole 4 quarters of the game.
You touch on that promise, mate. What are some of the things that excite you that you think Old Scotch will be able to do well when it gets up and running?
I think just using our sort of, not just relying on some of our main players. Obviously, they come a long way for us. But I think, it's the whole, all 22, 23 players on the field coming together and just playing the role for each other. And, just sticking to the theme, and I'm sure we'll get it done.
Well, I would never write Old Scotch off in a season.
No, you wouldn't.
I've got a long and proud history of never writing Old Scotch off. Even if you happen to be 3 games out with 3 to play and about 1,000% behind, you still find a way. So best of luck this weekend. As I say, the next 3 weeks will be absolutely critical, though. That's going to tell the story. Old Brighton, St Kevin's Uni Blues. Congratulations on your season so far, Harry. Best of luck for the road ahead, and thanks for your time and for the love of the game.
No, thanks, Jace. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Which, gentlemen, leads us into our Premier Men's preview for round 12 and our SEN and VAFA TV match of the day. You'll see it live on VAFA TV, live and free. You'll hear it on the SEN app from 1:45 on Saturday. You'll be down there at Fortress Brighton. It's the grand final rematch, part 2 from the last 2 seasons. Old Brighton and Old Scotch. You've got Old Brighton, who are sitting in 4th position, a little bit vulnerable. They're 7 and 4. You got Old Scotch, who are on the charge. They're at 4 and 7. If you purely looked at the ladder and the location, you'd say Brighton every time, but the form lines have actually been tracking in opposite directions. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
I'm just looking forward to a good quality game of football, and that's what these two teams give you, come rain, hail, or shine. We called the grand final rematch earlier this season, and that was a really good game. And obviously, being playing the last 2 grand finals, you always get a good game whenever these two teams come to town. So I'm just looking forward to the spectacle, and hope footy is the real winner at the end of the day. And we get to the final minutes of the match and there's only a kick in it. That's what we all want, and I hope we get it.
So Brighton have lost 3 of their last 5 through that Tullamarine flu season, when we know they lost probably 15 of their best players to overseas travel and to illness here in Melbourne. From an Old Scotch perspective, they've won 3 of their last 4. They've surged through the middle part of the season as they did last year, and they used that momentum to build off. But as we said, with Harry Dixon, their next 3 weeks, Brighton, St Kevin's, Uni Blues. Like, the time is now for Scotch. They've got to find it. They've got to turn it on, and they've got to keep it on for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting here to see what Old Brighton does roll out. I think there's some whispers that some other key players are going to be missing from this weekend, which is a huge body blow at this stage of the season. Not just to finals position, but keep in touch with that top 2 as well. That double chance is also important, especially as we get through these winter months. You start getting more bumps and bruises, but...
Well, particularly if third ends up being a team like St Kevin's, and you're going to face them in a knockout final. Like, whoever makes the top 4, at the moment it's Zabs, Blues, St Kevin's, Brighton. They're all fantastic teams. You've got Caulfield and Scotch on the outside. You're right. Having that double chance is going to be absolutely enormous. You've got the honour, Brayden. You're leading the tipping competition. Brighton or Scotch?
Fortress Brighton isn't what it was in 2026, and Old Scotch are going to go in there and get the 4 points.
I've tipped the Cardinals too. They're going to storm the castle.
Wow. Okay. Cardinals for both. This brings us to what could be the game of the year so far. Toorak Park, Saturday afternoon. You'll see this one live and free on VAFA TV from 1:55. I think we might set the Mega Wall up this week. There's enough good games. Do you reckon? I think it's Mega Wall worthy.
Mega Wall time.
Let's go Mega Wall this week on VAFA TV so you can watch all these games at once and have them next to each other. Old Brighton, Old Scotch in one screen, and next to it, Old Zaverians and Uni Blues. First versus second. A chance for the Blues to join Zabs on 10 wins and make the race for the minor premiership really fire up, or Zabs can kick 2 games clear. Your early thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, if I wasn't calling the game down at Fortress Brighton, this would be the one that you'd want to have all eyes on. First v second. It's always a great spectacle to have a top-of-the-table clash. And these 2 teams, I think, really have been the standout teams of the campaign, Old Zaverians and University Blues. Just star power wherever you look. It could very easily be a grand final preview that we've got coming up this weekend. It's going to be an absolute belter. And, you know, all the hard winter months, the Tullamarine flu that we have to go through, and the cold winter days in Melbourne. This is the payoff. We get to the back end of the season, the home stretch, and we get games like this.
Let's hope it's a day
we get
like
something.
today.
If we get something like this on Saturday, that'd be absolutely gorgeous. No, it's going to be a belter, this game.
And there's so much depth and so much power across all lines in both these teams. They've both got strike power up forward. They've both got great midfields, and they've both got great defences.
Yeah, it makes it very, very hard to tip. The way I see it, you've got Old Zav, the side that hasn't had the success a club of this stature probably once in recent times, since COVID in particular, and Uni Blues, as we've touched on earlier in the year, a side that wants to be in that top echelon. They're probably not there just yet. Again, the challenge is can they beat one of the big 3? Can they knock them off and say, we are well and truly here, we're here to challenge you? But again, I just think Old Zavs, they're still in a tier of their own at the moment, but the Blues might prove us wrong this weekend.
So who are you picking?
I'm going Zavs.
This is a venue one for me. So I think if this is at University Oval, my tip might sway. But Toorak Park, I'm going to go the Zavs.
What a game that'll be. You'll see it live and free. One of the games of the year, 1:55 on Saturday on VAFA TV. Critical game for a different reason at the other end of the scale. It's Old Haileybury taking on Old Trinity. You'll see this one live and exclusive on KTV, Community TV, from 1:55 on Saturday. Old Trinity sits 7th, but we know they're in a bit of a hole at the moment. They're going through a slump. The Bloods have slipped down to 9th. They're into the drop zone for the first time this year. There's only one game between them. If Old Haileybury can beat Old Trinity, they will leapfrog them out of the drop zone. And it is a absolutely critical game, because when you look at the run home for both teams, they've got some tricky games ahead. The 4 points on offer this weekend, Brayden, are enormous.
Yeah, the old-fashioned 8-point game here. For me, Dom Payman's return for the Tees in recent weeks makes a point of difference. And
They've lost their last 6.
That's going to change.
Yeah.
Lucky 7. I'm going to back the Tees on the road. Dom Payman get a handful.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a certain scenario that could play out here where you've got 4 teams level on 4 wins, and you could have one of them sitting in the relegation zone by the end of this weekend, depending on how other fixtures go. Now I'm gonna back the Tees. I think the bye came at an ideal time for them, just to hit the reset button, and having Dom Bayman back in the team, he could be the most critical player in the competition in terms of his importance to the Tees. So I'm going to back Old Trinity to win this one.
So the Tees have lost their last 6. Haileybury have lost 6 of their last 7. What a massive game this is going to be. Don't miss this one on KTV, 1:55 on Saturday, live and exclusive. St Kevin's taking on Caulfield Grammarians. We've talked about the power of St Kevin, sitting in 3rd spot at the moment, and just such incredible strike power. And they come up against the gritty Caulfield Grammarians, who have been, well, to be fair, have been exceeding expectations for most of the season, Brayden. They've just found ways to hang in and continually defy the odds.
Which is fantastic. They came up, obviously, on the back of a runners-up finish in Premier B. So, again, and what I've loved, they've found depth as well, like this extra depth. They've had injuries galore. Probably their injury list would have been the longest of anyone in the competition. We're talking Richmond-type scenarios where they've been plucking kids out of the 19s, which is great for the future of the footy club. But we saw St Kevin's the other week, Matty, and they were just powerful. They put the game to bed in a matter of minutes when challenged. And I just think that top four at the moment is just a class above. Old Scotch on the edge as well with the fields as well, but I reckon Scott will get the job done here.
Yeah, well, I look at the forward line of St Kevin's and think, well, who do you actually put your number one man on, and then who do you put your second guy to? There's just so much firepower with St Kevin's. We've called a few of their games. It just feels like every time they play, they're generating at least 30 scores a match, and I'm going to tip them to at least get the job done here against a Caulfield side that's actually been pretty good after a rough opening month of the season, but St Kevin's for me.
Yeah, so Caulfield beat Old Brighton down at Old Brighton a couple of weeks ago. Before that, they lost to Old Haileybury by a point, and then in their last game, they got beaten in the end by Old Zavarians pretty comfortably. They are plucky, though, the Fields. Like
they'll make you earn your wins.
That's it. The longer they hang around in a game, that belief and that confidence grows. You've got to beat them. That's a side. That's one thing you can say about Caulfield this year. They don't roll over, that's for sure.
No, you've got to play 4 quarters if you want the 4 points against them.
Final game of the weekend. Again, we talk about the significance of the race for the relegation zone at the moment between two teams that, you could mount arguments are playing better football than their records have suggested. We're talking about Uni Blacks and St Bernard's. Uni Blacks and St Bernard's down at Melbourne Uni on the weekend. So it's 8th versus 10th. So again, only one game between these two sides. If St Bernard's can find a way to beat Blacks, they will join them on 12 points. If Blacks find a way, they can jump out of the drop zone. And if Haileybury lose, they could be a game out of the drop zone as well. So the bottom 4 teams are all playing each other in a bit of a round robin this weekend. It is massive for the relegation race. So Blacks and Bernards mount a case for each.
For Blacks, I'm going to say the home ground. It's a massive advantage. And the key thing is there's been no footy on the ground this week. That's a great thing for the Uni Oval, just to clean it up a little bit, not have so much mud. But again, the traffic and just we saw St Bernard's the other week, and what they did, they challenged for St Kevin's for probably, I'd say, 65% of the game before St Kevin's put them away. And if they're going to win games, they need to be doing that for 90, 95%. But I just think the Blacks at home, their contested game, we've touched on it, the colder months, the in tight stuff, and they're fantastic. And I just think the Blacks will be too strong.
Yeah, it's hard to look past the Uni Blacks in this one, but St Bernard's are really playing for their lives, because if they drop this one, they're 2 games away from safety all of a sudden with, 5 games to go in the home and away campaign. So this is a massive game for the Snow Dogs, and they probably won't get many better opportunities to pick up wins than a side that's in the relegation battle with them, but I'm going to tip Uni Blacks here.
And then beyond that, they've got Zavs, Old Haileybury, Caulfield, Uni Blues, Brighton.
Yeah.
St Bernard, so as you say, and then Trinity to finish. So they don't want to be leaving it till the last minute. This is a massive 4 points. We seem to say that about every game, but it's a huge 4 points, particularly for St Bernard's. Although Blacks have lost 5 of their last 6 as well. So for Blacks, if they can pick up the 4 points, just buys them a little bit of breathing room, which just allows you to focus on what's right in front of you as opposed to getting a little bit distracted by the big picture. So for Blacks, for both of you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be a huge weekend of Premier Men's footy. That is round 12. Tips are done. After the break, Senshi will join us. We'll talk Men's Division 3. They played a couple of games over the weekend as well. Lockie Moy to join us. We'll talk Holmes Glen Under-19 Premier. That's next as For the Love of the Game continues. Looking for VAFA updates on the go? Download the brand new VAFA app today. Get live scores, fixtures, ladders, and all the latest VAFA news right at your fingertips. Whether you're a player, supporter, or just love local footy, the VAFA app keeps you in the game. Search VAFA in your app store and download it now. This is For the Love of the Game. There were actually 2 other games in action across the weekend. Division 3 Men's was in action. A couple of games. I'll just run you through those results. Latrobe 15-17, 107. Big winners over Albert Park, 6-7, 43. A 64-point win there for Albert Park up at Tony Sheehan Oval. And in the other game, Wattle Park kept on keeping on, 16-13, 109. Hawthorn 10-8, 68. Richmond Central had the bye. So the updated ladder there is Wattle Park. They're 3 games clear now as we welcome in Dylan Sench Footy Humphreys. Wattle Park, honorary player, member, supporter, patron, #1 ticket holder. What are you down there at the Animals?
Well, not all the undefeated teams got through on the weekend, believe it or not.
Oh, so we've got an unbeaten update.
The Wattle Park reserves actually lost. They lost by 2 points in I think like the dying minutes.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what does that bring us back to now? Is that 11?
Yeah, 11 or 10.
I think it's a 10 or 11. Yeah, okay.
So-
Wow. Of all the weekends where there was hardly any footy on, one of the unbeaten fell. Didn't see that coming. So Wattle Park in the seniors are 3 games clear of Richmond, who are then 2 games clear of Hawthorn, who are 2 games clear of Latrobe, who are 2 games clear of Albert Park. So that ladder is very much spread out in Division 3. Well, that brings us to under-19 Premier footy, and we recommence this weekend, Holmes Glen under-19 Premier, with our live coverage on KTV as always. And bringing in our man on the spot is Lockie Moyer. Lockie, welcome.
Thanks, boys. Good to be back. No games this week, but good to see Big Fee get the job done and a great win there.
We've just been speaking to Harry Dixon and having a look at the game with the gentleman. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a cracking win. 40 points is always good. 14-14, obviously 98 to 8-10, 58. So they get the job done in emphatic style. Speaking of Harry Dixon, he was obviously one of the stars on the day. Thought his composure with ball in hand was second to none. Also shout out to Ben Ferguson. His sort of athleticism and impact and ability to move across the ground really helped them sort of score and move the ball. And other players like Lockie McGowan, Jack Hayter and Sam Nicholas were also very important and played important roles. So it's clear to see that they had the edge on the Goulburn Valley League, and yeah, just great to get the win, and it's really good and shows the depth of the VAFA competition.
Senshi, who caught your eye from a 19's perspective?
The 2 would probably be Sasha Levine from Ajax and Bennett Martin from St. Bede's. I'm high on Bennett. I reckon he should be the rising star this year. And yeah, they were both pretty impressive. Sasha had 34 and 2 goals.
Anything in particular about those 2 players and their games that sort of make you feel like they might translate to the next level?
Just the high impact, like that goal Sasha kicked through the middle of the ground, beautifully caught by these boys here. Just unreal. It kind of reminded me of Melbourne in that grand final at that point when they went through the middle and bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
do you remember that grand final?
Yeah, I was going to say, Dylan, thanks for bringing that one up. I'd just about forgotten about all of that, so nice to be reminded of all of that.
Ferguson was one that you guys were talking about off air before as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, super talent, as Lockie touched on. You can see why he's played senior footy, and he touched on it after the game as well. He's played a variety of roles, as he did on the weekend, and yeah, I think he could easily play a much higher level footy. This is a guy that, not just the athleticism, which you see so much in profiles of AFL footballers now, he's just got genuine footy talent. I'm a big believer in footy talent first, the athleticism and everything second. But yeah, this is a kid that with a composed head on his shoulders as well. And look, there were so many contenders for best on ground. He would have been right up there. But his ability to work up and down, especially, we see sometimes at that level, defensive running isn't a big skill of the more talented kids because they know they're eventually going to win the ball back. But he got up and back. He was fantastic. And yeah, I just think he's someone that could play much higher honours and maybe state league system, more opportunities. I know he has played some VFL already.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that defensive side of the game. When you talk to any VFL or AFL coaches, the biggest thing they've got to teach kids when they first come into the system out of school footy or out of talent league footy or out of junior footy is the defensive side of the game. Because when you're playing in talent league, they have the no density sort of rules and regulations, and it's all about winning the footy and doing your thing and showcasing your skills. So to then teach that defensive work rate, the defensive patterns they've got to run, the two-way running, that's always the hardest thing to teach kids. So if you've got kids that naturally come into your system at senior level that have got that defensive element to the game, they're already streets ahead of the other kids who might take a couple of years to learn. And you think about GWS when GWS first started, and Gold Coast much the same. The kids that get picked up are the ones that are getting 35, 40 touches every week in the juniors, and they're just used to going and doing their thing. But you can't have a whole team of those because you get punished in the other direction. So it takes time and years and training to just change a mindset, to learn how to run those defensive patterns, to have that work rate. And even Brayden, from a cardio perspective, it's a lot harder when you've got to defend back the other way. It's one thing to just be worrying about getting the footy yourself, and when the ball's going in the other direction, not my problem. But when you've got to develop that level of your game as well, it takes time.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think you touched on like that defensive side and the cardio. I think we saw that in the first and third quarter in particular. I think when they did kick into the win, their ability just to control the footy and be patient, the 19s was absolutely fantastic. The best way to defend is by having the footy as well. And they did that smartly. I think Dill touched on Bennett Martin as well. He was fantastic. Like you spoke of running patterns. His running patterns are as good as I've seen at a kid. Like just up and down the wing. It's arguably the hardest position to play on the ground because you have days where you're going to get 5 touches. The ball just goes up.
Yeah,
up
and you still do 15 Ks.
But no, he was just in the right place at the right time. And you can see why he gets so much of footy at St. Bede's Mentone.
Yeah, Lockie, it's been great for the brand, bringing back the under-19s over the last couple of years. A big win over Bendigo last year, a big win over Goulburn Valley. It's just a great reminder of actually how great our competition is.
Yeah, 100%. It's I think it's sort of one of the strongest Victorian leagues. going around, and that just was showcased over the weekend with the big win. And there's just so much talent and so much players that should be playing senior footy, but obviously can't because of numbers, and there's just so much kids, and obviously the private schooling there makes it a bit tougher. But it's a fantastic showcase for a great competition, and always good to see him get the win.
So we return to Holmes Glen Under-19 Premier action this weekend. We're up to round 12, 7 to go. Brighton sit on top of the ladder on 32 points. They're 8-3. They're a game clear of Old Scotch, who have jumped to second, Xavier and St Bede's, who are all on 28, one game behind. Then you've got St Kevin's and Delar, one game behind them at 24. A gap back to Uni Blues on 16 rather. Parkdale 16, Caulfield 14, and Beaumaris 8. So at the moment, the race for the top 4 is in 6, really. Old Brighton 32, Scotch, Zavs, St Bede's 28, St Kevin's and Delar on 24. That's your top 6. Let's look ahead to round 12. It is tips time. At the moment, Senchi leads by 8. You're sitting on 37. Lockie's on 29. You both got 4 out of 5 in round 11. So, Senchi, you will have the honour here. Round 12, Holmes Glen Under-19 Premier. It kicks off 9:20 Saturday morning. Mentone Reserve, St Bede's Mentone Tigers versus Old Brighton. A top 4 clash. St Bede's Mentone Tigers, if they win this, they join Old Brighton on 32.
St Bede's Mentone for mine.
Wow, okay.
At home.
I'm going to go Old Brighton purely because St Bede's have lost the last 2, so they might be hitting a bit of a form slump. So hopefully Old Brighton can sort of strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah, it's a huge game, isn't it? If St Bede's do drop this, they go 2 games off top, but if they win, they're equal top. Caulfield and Uni Blues. So Caulfield at the moment sitting in 9th position, Uni Blues sitting in 7th position. But this is a massive game in the relegation if we have it in Under-19 Premier, but a massive game at the bottom end of the ladder. 2 p.m, Glen Huntly Park. The Fields or the Blues?
The Blues. The Blues to keep their season alive.
Lockie?
Yeah, much the same. I'll go the Blues as well.
Old Zabs versus Old Scotch. How about this for a game? 2 p.m, Stradbroke Park. Scotch sitting second, Zabs sitting third. And again, that same scenario. The winner jumps to 32, kicks a game clear of the other. So we've got the top 4 teams playing against each other this weekend. St Bede's Mentone versus Brighton. Zabs versus Scotch. Scotch is on a how many game winning streak? 7, is it?
7.
Will they make it 8, Senchi?
Well, Carlton didn't make it 8, so Scotch will make it 8.
Scotch.
Just quickly, I reckon I might have got to Lockie, though, because if you notice the first 2 players he gave a shout-out to were both the Scotch under 19
I didn't notice that, but I knew you would. Lockie, Zabs or Scotch?
Yeah, I'll probably go Zabs. Speaking of winning streaks, they're coming in off 4 wins in a row. So I think they're all starting to hit form.
What a huge game.
So Zabs for me.
Huge game, this one. The winner goes potentially game clear in second spot. Beaumaris and Delar sell. Bowie sitting on the bottom of the ladder. Delar sitting in 6th position. This is 2 p.m. at Moorabbin West.
Delar. I assume our man Hugo's back for it, so...
You see the lucky charm?
Yeah.
Lockie?
Yeah, Delar for me as well, guys, yeah.
And the final game of the weekend is our KTV game. It's a Saturday night footy clash, 4:45 at Jerry Green Reserve. It is Parkdale versus St Kevin's. St Kevin's sitting on the outside looking in at the moment. They need to bank these 4 points, but Parkdale can be dangerous. Parkdale or St Kevin's? You'll see it live and exclusive on KTV.
St Kevin's.
St Kevin's for Sench.
Yeah, so St Kevin's as well. I just think they should be too good here.
Looking forward to another massive weekend, as we said. Huge connotations in this round 12, particularly at the top end of the ladder. Lockie will be back next week to break it all down for us on For the Love of the Game. Thanks, Lockie. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on again.
Keep up to date with everything that's happening around the VAFA by subscribing to our socials. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Has someone just taken a screamer or kicked goal of the year? Send us your best and we might share them around the league. Join in the fun with all the best pics, videos, stories and reels from around the competition. They're all on VAFA socials. Search VAFA and VAFA Women's on your favourite platforms. This is For the Love of the Game. It's time for Sench Watch and Senchi shout-outs. You've had all week to prep it, Senchi. What do you got?
I don't have anything really. I've come unprepared. Maybe I would give a shout out to Jack Hayter, Uni Blues in the under-19s. He had 40 disposals, which pretty hard to do in a rep game. So
That is an outstanding performance.
Yeah, he can be my one shout out for the week.
Oh, you got to embrace the haters.
Matt Harvey also had 44.
Harvey was amazing. Amazing.
Recruit of the year, I believe
Well,
someone said.
we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the show. Tom Gorell or Matt Harvey. If you had to take one, who are you taking?
Matt Harvey.
You're taking Matt Harvey
Yeah.
over Tom Gorell?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing he was on the show earlier and not coming up. Now, let's actually just flip Sench Watch a little and make it a literal Sench Watch. You gentlemen had the opportunity to see Senchy in his natural habitat on the weekend, buzzing around, doing his thing, getting all his content created. What'd you make of him?
No, I was not surprised at all that the ripping Ben Ferguson goal that he kicked on the half-forward flank was up, posted, and being shared around within about 30
as the
seconds
ball was
after
sailing through the goals, it hit my Insta account.
Yeah, it was already there. No wonder there is no Sench Watch because he was too busy cutting up edits of all the Old Scotch players who were running around at the weekend. No, it was good to be here at Elstonwick Park, actually calling a game here in the new media centre. It was actually a really good day and a couple of terrific games. So no, it was a good place to be on Saturday.
What was the vibe like on Saturday, Brayden?
Yeah, exciting. I had a shout out. I think you missed one, Senchy. The Melbourne High School Old Boys cheer squad. They went from end to end in the senior game. Luca DeLalo, he had his own cheer squad, and he was even signalling to them. It was fantastic. It was great. It was great seeing so many clubs represented as well. And Senchy, what was your step count on Saturday? I was wondering. You were everywhere.
Oh,
The ubiquitous Senchy.
give me a sec.
Senchy, while you're looking up your step count, which makes for outstanding radio,
What was the date on it?
the 11th. That's a great start.
Only 8,000.
Oh,
That's pretty disappointing.
that's very disappointing. And you've only got little legs too, so that's 5,000 of everyone else's. The point that Brayden made about clubs embracing the Big V, it's one of the great things that I take a lot of pleasure out of seeing how clubs do. And you look at like Wattle Park had a Big V rep, like for them to be a Division 3 club and have someone representing the Big V and they can embrace it and be part of it. It really sums up why that Prem B to Div 3 team is just so special. It spans across, potentially 50 teams across all those sections, and clubs that are smaller clubs and don't necessarily get the top end recognition that the bigger clubs get, have that opportunity to share your social pieces and really get involved and embrace the day.
Yep, you saw it last year when we went to Bendigo, like all the people that travelled up there. Even this year in Adelaide, what team was it? West Brunswick.
Yep.
For the Prem Women's, they travel.
Yeah.
You love to see it. I think there was about like 800 to 1,000 people here on Saturday. So.
And it's a wonderful thing for club culture. Like one person succeeds, they all succeed. And as we talked a little bit earlier with Tom Gorell and the theme that the leaders actually came up with in that Prem B to D3 team, and Jared Geishan embraced it and loved it, is who are you playing for? And Hugh Johnson mentioned it on the broadcast after the game. Their theme of the week was thinking about who you're playing for. You're playing for your club. You're playing for all the people that work at your club and the volunteers and everyone who's involved and everyone who loves that club. And obviously you're playing for your family and your friends. But that concept of I'm here, sure, I'm the one pulling on the jumper, but I'm doing it representing my footy club and I'm here to fly the flag for them. I think it was a wonderful theme.
Yeah, couldn't have been more impressed with Geishan and his dad like that. Yeah. The program they had was,
it was a very, very bonded, connected unit, and you saw it on Saturday.
Yeah, for me, that's the best part of representative football is it's the representing part, and and no matter who gets picked in the team, there's 22 great stories out of it, and the players to be able to represent their clubs and to be able to represent their teammates as well at club level. I think it's the best part of representative football. So that was really special to watch on Saturday.
Let's whip through big bags and ton watch. Only a handful of games, as you'd imagine, so not a lot of movement. But Austin Bennett played in the La Trobe University Division 3 Seniors, kicked 8 on the weekend in those 2 games that we mentioned. He kicked 8, he's got 24 for the weekend, and Joey Slater from Wattle Park kicked 4 as well. He's got 14 for the season. So ton watch, not a lot of movement up the top. Mitch Brown obviously didn't play. He sits on 57. Luca DeLello kicked a couple of goals, though, for the Big V, so he's jumped up to 53. He's in a second position now. And Tommy Gorell, that we spoke to earlier, he kicked 5, so he's jumped up to 47. So he's now in the top 5 as well, the top 5 in the men's competition. Mitch Brown on 57, Luca DeLello 53, Patrick Carricker on 49, Rogan Kitts on 48, and now Tommy Gorell up there in 47, having a great year.
You've noted down Will Hart's 2 goals as well?
Will Hart's jumped up to 45, yeah. So he's
yeah.
He's sitting in about 6th position at the moment. And in the women's, no movement, obviously no women's footy over the weekend. So it's still Isabella Geetzman on 25 goals. She sits 3 clear of Jordan Mifsud, Georgia Harris, and Asher Price. So the only other tip, speaking of VAFA women's competition, we have got a game on VAFA Media this week, a live Premier Women's match. Don't miss this one. It's Caulfield Grammarian sitting top of the table up against the 3-time champions St Kevin's. That game at Glen Huntly Oval, you see it live and free right here on VAFA TV from 11:40 on Saturday. Caulfield versus St Kevin's, 11:40 Saturday here on VAFA TV. So the only tips that we haven't done to this point is the Premier Women's. So, gentlemen, let me get your tips for the women's. We'll start with that Caulfield St Kevin's game, as I mentioned, Glen Huntly Park, KTV Live. You can see the coverage from 11:35 Saturday. Your honour, of course, as always. I don't know why I even hesitated.
I'll go the Fields in this one.
Yeah, hard to go past Caulfield.
Caulfield for you both. Fitzroy and Old Geelong, 2 p.m. Brunswick Street.
Fitzroy.
Yeah, Fitzroy for me too.
Westbourne versus Old Brighton, 2 p.m. Andrew Park.
Old Brighton.
Tunners for me.
You're really out there on a limb today,
Yeah,
Matty. You're not making up any
I'm
ground.
putting my
How are you going
reputation
to catch 13 tips if you just keep tipping the same as Brayden?
I'm not. I'm just trying to save face here.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's damage minimisation. It's like we're going to get beaten, but we'll get beaten by 5 goals instead of 20.
Yep.
Old Scotch versus Q, 2:30 Camberwell Sports Ground.
I'll go Sench's team, Old Scotch.
Yeah, I've got to be on board here with Century this time, the Cardinals.
And West Brunswick have the bye. That is it for this edition of For the Love of the Game. We launch back into things. Do you not know when I start to wind up at the end of the show? Whatever you're going to bring here has to be absolutely exceptional.
I just want to give a shout out to Matty Donald, who went 2 for 2 in tipping on the weekend. I think we're forgetting about that.
Oh, you beauty.
Yeah, well done. That could have been in the Century shout-outs. We could have talked about that 10 minutes ago.
Perfect round.
That's it for the love of the game. Round 12 is going to be massive on all fronts. Good luck to everyone getting back into it again as we start to set our sails for September. The run home to the finals officially begins this weekend. We'll be here next week to wrap it all up for the love of the game.